Come with me, and you'll be in a world
Today we're
of cinematic
talking
adventures.
Those Who Wish Me Dead. So today, gang's all here, or at least about to be, and we're talking Those Who Wish Me Dead. AC Facey, hello.
Hello.
Oh shit, yo.
So what did we think of Those Who Wish Me Dead?
I honestly just want to ask you guys first, like, what would you guys done in that situation?
In which situation? The kid or Angelina Jolie or the husband? Like who?
Oh yeah, okay, cool. What would you guys do just in that crazy fire? Like if you was in the forest and there was a crazy ass mega fire happening, and you was like in the middle of it. I guess what would you guys do there? That's what I kept on thinking about. Like Jesus Christ, this shit was. I'd be scared as shit. That got to be one of the most terrifying things. Like I remember when they were running and then the fire was in the grass, just like traveling really fast. That shit would give me a heart attack.
Here's the thing. With this movie, you can't just be like, yo, what would you do if you're in a fire? Because there was more than just them being in a fire. They were running away from people who were trying to kill them. So the question for them quickly became, are you running into the fire or towards the people who are trying to murder you? So that's really the question. All right, so let's set it up. Hannah Faber, a smoke jumper. A smoke jumper, by the way, is a firefighter who jumps into the fire to help, or into the situation to help put out the fire, is struggling after 3 young boys were killed in a forest fire she failed to prevent. She is now posted in a fire lookout tower in the middle of a forest. Meanwhile, Owen Casserly, a forensic accountant, learns about the death of his boss and his family in an apparent gas explosion. They were actually murdered by brothers and assassins Jack and Patrick Blackwell. Believing he is next to be targeted, he goes on the run with his son, Connor, to seek refuge with his brother-in-law, Ethan Sawyer, a deputy sheriff and Hannah's ex-boyfriend. They are ambushed by the Blackwells, who force them off the road and down a cliff by shooting at them. As Owen dies, he gives Connor evidence against the Blackwell's employer, mob boss Arthur Phillip, and tells him to escape before being shot to death. Ethan discovers Owen's car wreck. Meanwhile, Hannah stumbles upon Connor while out on patrol. Connor accompanies Hannah back to the tower to contact help. The Blackwells are instructed by Arthur to hunt Connor down and kill him. In order to distract the police, they use flares to start a forest fire. They go to Ethan's house, believing Connor may have fled there, and interrogate his pregnant wife, Allison, but she fights them off and escapes. She's a badass when she does that, by the way. Discovering the radio at the tower disabled after a lightning strike, Hannah attempts to take Connor into town on foot, but is struck by lightning while crossing a field. They turn back when the fire blocks their path. Ethan returns home with the sheriff after having been alerted by Allison in a call that something is wrong. The Blackwells kill the sheriff and force Ethan to guide them through the woods. They come across Hannah's tower, and Ethan is forced into searching it while they watch from a tree. Having returned to the tower, Hannah and Connor hide while Ethan attempts to make it appear empty. However, Patrick notices Ethan talking, and they start shooting into the tower, injuring Ethan, but Hannah and Connor manage to escape. The Blackwells try to follow them, but are stopped when Allison, having tracked them down, starts shooting at them. Patrick and Jack split up, with Patrick going after Hannah and Connor, and Jack trying to kill Allison. However, she kills him. Connor runs ahead while Hannah distracts Patrick, but Connor returns after Patrick almost kills her. A struggle ensues, and Hannah injures Patrick and leaves him to burn to death in the approaching fire. Allison reunites with Ethan in the tower, but they are trapped by the fire. They put out oxygen masks and hold each other as it surrounds them. Hannah and Connor are able to escape by jumping into a stream and watch from under the water as the fire engulfs the forest. In the morning, after the fire is burned out, the survivors are saved when Hannah's old smoke jumping team arrives to rescue her. Connor, and Allison. Ethan had died from his earlier injuries. Later, as rescue services and television crews arrive, Connor prepares to give his father's evidence to the media while being comforted by Hannah, who promises to help him through his uncertain future.
I'm not gonna lie, when they were holding each other with the gas mask, that hit me. That hit me in places in my heart I didn't know it could hit, man. That shit was, and then when they were just there, like in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were showing us them burnt, and I was like, "That's really fucked up, bro." I was like, "I don't want to see this." I was like, "What the fuck?" And then she just started moving. I was like, "Oh, she's alive, thank God." And then I was like, "Is he alive?" And then nah, he wasn't
and,
alive.
and then nah.
Nah,
The way
he
you
wasn't
said
alive.
that, damn.
I thought he was. Yo, he's like one of my. He's becoming low key one of my favorite actors ever since he showed up in Daredevil.
John
And it's
Bernthal?
yeah, man, he's so cool. Like when he was there with the two people pointing a gun, he was like, "Shoot me!" I was like, "Yeah, buddy." I was like, "You're gonna die, but you're gonna go out like a real one." Yeah. Then he died anyway later on, which I got really sad about. But that shit hit me in the feels. They did a good job. Whoever directed that, yeah, you did a great job, buddy. You got me.
But we're doing, yes, it's spoiler talk, but I found that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but like the 4 people who listen to this, people will like listen to this and they'll hear us talk about a movie and then go watch it. So you're welcome, HBO. We're doing promo for you.
Hold up. Can we rewind and go back to the way this movie started, though?
Sure.
Like, you didn't even get 5 minutes in, and there is a fucking explosion, and people are dead.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. This director hasn't done very much work at all. And to be honest, I don't think I've seen any of his other films. But that part, the way to start it, I was like, that is epically perfect. Like, you almost legit, if you didn't know better, would have thought these people were really doing a job, like a legit legal job. No, they were killing a family with no fucks to give. Baby and all.
Yeah. That was so fucked up, but I knew, like, okay, so the very beginning of the movie, you're following, by the way, like, are we going to talk about how the fact that like Nicholas Hoult is a bad guy? Like, what? He's not a bad guy. He's the dude. He's the good zombie. Like, come on. Anywho, but yeah, he's a bad guy now. And so Nicholas Hoult and Aidan Gillen are in this movie. They're assassins, but when the beginning of the movie, you just see the two of them ring a doorbell, right? And this lady opens the door, and they're both wearing badges, and they're looking very official. And they were like, "Yeah, they're looking like they're firemen, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, we heard a report of a gas leak." And before you even meet them, we see the firefighters that Angelina Jolie is part of. So you're brought into like, okay, here are firefighters. And then you see these two guys saying, "Yeah, we're from the fire department and we heard that there was a leak. So we need to come in and take a look." And I was like, don't let them in. I don't know who they are, but they are not firefighters. Don't let them in. But like the movie kind of makes you think they are because of showing you firefighters a second ago. And now these guys, they are not firefighters. It's really ominous the way it happens because they go in and you don't see them go, like, she's just like, "Yeah, sure." She opens the door, they walk in, we go to another scene. When we come back to them, they are leaving and you don't see the woman anymore. You just see them they're just walking out the door, closing the door behind them, and they're quickly walking away from the building. They're not running, but they're keeping pace. They're quickly walking away and they're talking.
It's a very brisk walk. Very brisk
walk, right. They're talking, and at one point, Gillen looks at the other dude, and he was like, "You got blood on your shirt." And we can't really tell because there's not like a lot of blood splatter. There's like a little dot, right? And then he says, "We'll need to go soon because, how far away from this other place?" And he was like, "Okay, I think it's like Jacksonville or something." And they're like, 6 hours. And they're like, "Well, we need to go right now because that explosion's going to be on the news in 30 minutes. Now, mind you, they just said that'll be on the news in 30 minutes. Nothing has happened yet. And then they get in their car and then kaboom! This is not like an average everyday house. This is like a rich person's house. Exploded. That whole lot that they were on, gone. Like that. Just explosion. And it was like, holy shit. Here's the tragic part. So it's like, okay, they killed the woman and the husband, because when they knock on the door, they say, "Is your husband home?" And she's like, he's taking a shower. And they say, "Okay, well, can we come in? We heard about the gas leak and everything." As she's talking, you can hear a baby crying. They killed the whole family. That's so fucked up. Like, they just killed a baby. And you know that they killed them first because you heard the baby crying when they opened the door. When they close the door, you don't hear anything. And you hear, and the dude says you got blood on you, which means they shot all 3 of them and then blew up the house to cover it up. Which, by the way, that doesn't actually cover anything up because if you shoot someone, even the charred body, like, you can still see a bullet hole. They can still, they can still tell cause of death.
Fire can't cover holes, everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, like, that's how fucked up. That's the beginning of the movie. That's where we start. And then we see Angelina Jolie being, like, death defying, like being a daredevil. And of course she gets arrested by John Bernthal, who's like a sheriff's deputy. And he's all pissed off because she's, like, basically being a dick. And she's pretty much been acting like a prick, like, the whole time. And he tries to, like, calm her down and is like, look, you need to stop, like, being a daredevil and trying to end yourself because this isn't productive. And basically she's like, make me. So she ends up going to jail for pulling a stupid ass stunt. And then that's when we find that she is the sheriff's, not the sheriff, but the sheriff's deputy's ex-girlfriend. But he is happily married now to a woman who is 6 months pregnant with a baby girl. So yeah, that's where we start. And this movie brought back the MacGuffin. Instead of the MacGuffin being a thing that everybody's trying to get, the MacGuffin is a thing that the main character, that one of the main characters has and could get him killed. It's the thing that they're killing for. So it's basically a bad guy MacGuffin. The bad guys are trying to get it. And we never find out exactly what it is. We don't know what the information is. They never tell us.
Only that it could take down a whole lot of highly important people.
Yep. All we know is the dad is a forensic accountant and he found something. His job is to find the thing that people are hiding in the books. And he found the thing. And the very important people were like, nah, bitch, that should have stayed hidden. And he was really smart, though, because the moment he saw that explosion, he was like, okay, you're not going to school. We're getting the fuck out of here. So
hey, that kid almost went to school. Almost.
He did. They got to the school. Oh, what is a MacGuffin? A MacGuffin is a thing in movies.
An object or event that's necessary to plot the motivation of the characters, but it's insignificant. And you typically never find out what it is.
Yeah. That's why this is a classic MacGuffin, because we don't even find out what the secrets are, but it doesn't matter because what the secret is completely useless to the plot. Just the fact that there are secrets, that's what was important. The MacGuffin is what drives the entire plot of the story.
Kind of like the briefcase in that one movie that Elias has never seen.
Oh, you had to go and list it like that, didn't you? You had to say it that way.
Wait, now I want to know the movie or the briefcase in the movie that I haven't seen. That's not fair.
No, you don't.
Why?
You
still we're not to that movie.
We're not to the movie yet. The movie, so you have no clue what we're talking about. I was about to say the name, and then you said that. Now I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, I want to know, please. I'm sorry. I like this movie. That should give me points.
That should give you points. You liked a movie, therefore that should give you points. That doesn't. I'm not sure what grading scale you use.
The night. That's 2 points. So do I have to get like 5 or something? All right, I'll wait.
Oh my goodness.
The sheriff's wife was a total badass, and I knew she was a badass when she had him in a headlock. I was like, yeah, she's gonna fuck these people up. I was like, a black woman has a white cop in a headlock? Yeah, she's a badass. I was like, yep, she's going to kill everybody in this bitch. I thought she was going to save the fire. I thought she was going to pull some shit. When she grabbed that horse, I was like,
she's not a superhero.
She's going to stop the fire with the horse. I was like, this is great. That was also a very stupid thing she did too. I don't know why she grabbed the horse and not the motorcycle. Oh, maybe because it was silent.
You don't know why? I'll explain why. She was actually being very smart. She grabbed the horse because everything else she was looking at was too loud and they would have heard her coming. The horse she could approach silently. That's why she was able to just randomly start shooting and they didn't know where she was.
Yeah. That makes valid sense.
Yes, that's why she grabbed the horse.
She's still a badass with her fucking horse.
Yes. And I can just hope that the horse got away before the fire got there.
Horse hit the minute she got off the horse is like, all right, I'm out. All my friends told me to leave. I only went with you because you had a gun. I'm out of here.
Shut up. Because you had a gun.
Yep. That's what happened. Director's cut.
The director's cut is the horse saying, I only went with you because you had a gun.
No, the director's cut is the movie, but from the horse's point of view.
What are your thoughts, AC Facey?
I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked. I didn't expect this movie to actually hold my attention like it did, but it got me going for sure. And then like the fact that the dad, like you said, he saw the news clip and was like, "Ah, shit." He knew not to grab anything. He knew to take out straight cash. As soon as he saw his son's phone, he's like, "Whoa, nope, that shit's got to go."
Yep.
They went ahead and they stayed off the radar for as long as they could. Problem is, apparently they were a little easier to find than they thought. I still don't understand how one picture just registered. Yeah. Like that part was pretty obscure to me, but whatever.
It makes sense to me though, because of the fact that, like you said, he took out once as they were piecing it all together, they were like, okay, they left. And I would have thought that they would have immediately gone to like the kid's school or to the dad's job, right? Which would have bought him a little bit of time while they're hunting him down. But no, these guys are professionals. So they're like, okay, let's hack into his computer. Let's check his email. Let's check his money. Because they know that the explosion was already on TV.
Well, here's the trigger. The trigger is, you notice when he grabbed the obituary and he started looking up, that's when he realized, okay, that means that you clearly got to be with your son. It's just you and your son. And then you went through the rest of the pictures, and that's what triggered it. That one fucking picture.
Yeah. Yeah. But, well, I think that what got them there is the fact that on the dad's laptop, he, like, where he saw the story of the explosion, he left that up. Had he not done that, like, had he taken the laptop with him, or like wiped the laptop before he left, they would have had to go to the school. They would have had to go to the thing because they wouldn't have had any clue.
This is 2021. What parent doesn't lock a laptop when they have children? No passcode, no nothing.
Well, remember, they were also in a hurry.
But your laptop automatically locks.
Well, yeah. But I think it was the story. Like when he saw the story, that he saw that the last thing he had watched on the laptop was the story of the explosion. They were like, okay, he's leaving, and then he hacks into the bank account and he sees he withdrew $10,000. Now he's like, okay, these guys know what they're doing, so they know better than to pay credit card or to call someone. So where would they go? And I think the reason why that picture gave it away is because in that picture, he was wearing, John Bernthal was wearing his sheriff uniform. And it's kind of, that one picture was like an orgy of evidence because it says survival training school. And it's,
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the only key factor though. Think about it. That picture also didn't have the wife, and he's realized that the wife has died. So this is post-wife, which means it's a sanctuary for you and your son.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, because he had already figured out that the wife died because he found the obituary. But I'm saying, like, the reason why when he saw that picture, he was like, "This is where they're going," is because of the fact that in that picture, the dude was wearing a sheriff's. He's wearing a sheriff's outfit, and it said survival school, which is like, okay, this is where they're gonna feel safe.
Yeah. Before we go back to the badass wife, can we just bring up the fact that why was Tyler Perry the 2-minute bad guy behind everything? You only see
probably because this was most likely filmed on his studio, and he can be whatever he wants in a film that's on his studio.
I didn't know it was his studio. I just know that he was in it for a whopping 2 motherfucking minutes, and you happen to be the bad guy behind all of this.
No, I said probably because he has the biggest studio now, so odds are it was filmed in his studio. This was by New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers, so it could have been filmed in his studio. I don't see where, but most likely because, like, if they didn't film it there, I mean, the dude can just pop up wherever he wants. He's that level now.
Is Tyler Perry a billionaire?
He's the bad guy behind the 2 guys in the movie that's doing all the bad footwork. What do you mean?
No, I mean in real life, not in the movie.
Yo, we're not talking about real life. Stop. Look, you did that in text too. Nope.
No, I'm saying like because she was like, oh, like Tyler Perry can show up in that movie because he's at that level. So I was like, oh, is he like a billionaire? Because if he's a
yes, he is. His net worth is $1 billion.
Oh yeah, he could definitely do that. That was where I was going with that, Ace. Not that whole other stuff.
So yeah, as a billionaire, you can do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
The wife is a total badass in this movie. I was afraid, like when they brought her in, I was like, oh, is this going to be a love triangle? No, it wasn't. They are like, yeah, they mentioned that Angelina Jolie and John Bernthal are exes, but that's it. They don't try it, like nothing, like, yeah, they did date, but that was it. They did. Not present tense. And he very much loves his wife, and she very much loves him. And I was like, please don't kill her off. And for a minute, you thought they were going to, because the douchebags show up at her house, but she was super smart, yo. So like, unlike the first chick in the beginning of the movie, when they show up and they were like, oh, we detected a gas leak and can we come in and check? They show up to her place with FBI uniforms and badges and everything. And they knock on her door and say, we're with the FBI. We are looking for your husband. And she's like, he's not here. And if you were with the FBI, you would know that. And she closed the door on him, like, fuck off. And they were like, no. And they try to get in. And she's just like, yeah, no, I'm smarter than this. I don't know who you are, but I know that you're not coming in this house. And then they overpower her and get in anyway. And as soon as they do, she just slowly reaches behind her and grabs some bear spray. And I was thinking she was going to use it earlier, but she doesn't use it till later. And then they when they overpower her, they knock her over. Here's the thing that gets me. She has a very noticeable baby bump, but then Nicholas Hoult goes upstairs and he's looking through and he sees the baby room, and he comes back down and he whispers in his brother's ear. And then the brother was like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, that's what the belly is. What did you think? Did you think she was selectively fat? She has a clear baby bump and she is facing you. Like, what? Like, these guys are supposed to be like master assassins who notice tiny details. They didn't notice the baby bump that was standing right in front of her. Like, you could have seen it when she opened the door. So that's one thing that I thought was kind of weird. And then they start getting in, the first thing that what's his name does. What is his name? What's the name of the brother? Because I keep wanting to call him the brother. So Aidan Gillen is the name of the guy who plays it, but Jack Black. Okay, Jack. So Jack, the first thing he does is he grabs a poker and puts it in the fire. And I'm thinking, ooh, she's on the ground. She's going to use it to like poke you and kill you or something. Nope. He uses it to threaten her. He has his brother use it to threaten her. And he has a gun to her. And he was like, where's your husband? And she's like, he's not here. And he's like, has he found the boy? And she's like, no, he hasn't found the boy. No, she's telling the truth. He has not found the boy. So he did find the scene with the dad, and he called it in, and the sheriff was down there with him, even though she told the truth. Like, they haven't found the boy yet. And he did find the scene, but he's, working on it. He's, trying to find the boy. The two douchebags were like, okay, we have to make sure that you're telling the truth. So he gets the poker and is like putting it near her face, and he's like saying like, oh, we'll kill you or the baby, like, if you, to make sure. So then after they put the poker in her face, then she lies And now she's like, yes, they found the boy. But she's smart about lying because she's like, okay, if I tell them they found the boy, they're going to let me call him. So they do. They have her call him and say, call him and tell him, but don't tell him anything else, obviously. Just call him and tell him, to come home and to bring the boy. So she calls and she's like, are you hungry? Do you have, is the boy hungry? I can make some food or you can stop by. And she says hungry one more time. And he realizes, trigger word. She's signaling him. She's signaling him. So he makes her hang up the phone and he hits her and she backs up towards the fire. And this is like the awesome scene. She backs up toward the fire. And then that's when she pulls out the bear spray and she has it pointed towards the fire. And Jack was like, you have that facing the wrong direction. And she's like, no, I don't. She sprays it into the fire and then immediately sprays it. It's the same effect of like if you have a lighter and a spray and a can of like aerosol spray and you use the aerosol spray on the lighter and it becomes like a torch. That's pretty much what happens with this bear spray. And she lights his face up and she sprays the bear spray in his brother's face and she pretty much gets away. Like they shoot at her and everything, but then she goes and runs and grabs her shotgun and she starts shooting back. And they were like, oh, I hate this fucking place. Because everybody, it's like Montana or some shit, but it's like survival country. So everybody up there knows how to shoot. They know how to like skin things. Like you cannot, taking these people down is not going to be easy. They're not just like suburbanites that are just going to be like, oh, sure, let me open the door. No, these people will fight back. So she like bear sprayed his face and she's like, she shot at him and she gets away. And they were like, fuck this. So then homeboy comes, the husband shows up with the sheriff. They shoot the sheriff because they like hide. And then they're like, well, they're trying to find her. They can't find her. So then the sheriff comes and they hide. And then they shoot the sheriff and they go after the sheriff deputy, her husband. And they were like, we have your, there's one more of us and he's got your wife. And it's bullshit because she ran and they don't know where the fuck she went. And they were like, if you don't come with us and lead us to the boy, then we're going to have him kill your wife. The dude is like, at first he goes along, but you can tell he's skeptical. He's like, I don't think that happened. I think by the burns and shit in your eyes, she probably got away. She got the lead on your asses. You don't know where the hell she is. Because another thing is when he's on the ground, they whisper to each other. Now, I don't know if he can hear them or not, but one of them whispers, do we go find her? And he's like, no, we can't find her and the boy at the same time. So they just let her go and they go to find the boy. Now, if the sheriff heard that, not the sheriff, but if John Bernthal heard that, then he's like, oh, I don't know where the fuck she is. But I think that just like whether or not he knew that, like whether or not he heard it, he just knew like obviously she got away looking at their faces because Jack has like his eyes are all scarred from where she sprayed him in the face. And the other dude, like she burned half his face. And they're limping and shit. So he's like, yeah, she got in some good licks. And these are like recent injuries. So he's like, I don't think you actually did anything. Like, I don't think y'all know where she is.
I thought he was going to die then when they got him. And to be honest, they didn't really need him to find the kid. Like, these guys are like master assassins or something. Like, you guys don't need the sheriff or the deputy dude to track down a kid. So honestly, I thought he was gonna die then, but wrong.
Okay, the reason why they did need him is because they're master assassins. Their main thing is like they can switch terrain, but their main thing, like I said, is like hunting down like suburbanites, which are so much easier for them. But this is an area that they are very unfamiliar with, and they're trying to track down people who are extremely familiar with it, who all have survival skills. That's why it's so difficult for them. That's why they do need him, because he knows that area.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
That's why they didn't just kill him right away. Because if it weren't for that, they would have just killed him right away, like they've been killing everybody else at this point.
Yeah, and I also, like, I felt like I did the whole well, I didn't really dig it. Like I thought their shit made no sense. Like, oh, we gotta kill everybody that saw us. And then they were like, well, that's gonna make a lot of noise. And they're like, well, we're gonna cause a really big fire so we could kill everybody that's not by a burn wound. And
What do
it's
you
just
mean that
like,
doesn't make sense? It's a distraction. Just like our government does us. Let's distract you with this while we go fuck up this.
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty stupid too. Damn, America's doing that. Yeah,
But it's an old school tactic.
Yeah.
People have been doing it for centuries. It's a distraction method. I mean, think about it. Pickpocketers are so successful because they distract you. They make you feel something on one side while they're picking your pocket on the other.
Okay, all right.
So if we set a wildfire, you guys are going to be too busy with this wildfire to notice people are going missing
and being shot.
Yeah, literally.
Also, I love the poetic justice of the fact that the wildfire is what killed one of them.
Yeah,
because he technically, like, he may have died of his injuries, but he didn't get a chance because the wildfire actually took him out.
And well, actually, technically, they both kind of died by fire. Well, I mean, technically, the first one died by a gunshot wound, but he was dying anyway.
Yeah, he didn't die by fire because she killed him dead, and then the fire came later.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because so the she that we're talking about is the wife. She comes back later, and that's what happens when you're messing around in the woods. Exactly. They were out of their element. That's why they both got taken down. Fairly easily, by the way, because both of them were killed by one woman. Not one woman, they were each killed by a woman, not the same woman. Nicholas Holt's character he wasn't technically killed by Angelina Jolie, but she tussled with him, and she had her axe for fighting fires, and she essentially buried it in him multiple times. And she didn't kill him, she just left. And the fire was rapidly approaching, so the fire killed him. And then the other guy had long since been dead because pregnant black chick was like, nah, bitch, you went after my family, you die. And she shot him, and he shot at her, but she actually hit. Because again, these people, this is what they do. They've been shooting since they were 5. So
to be clear, real quick, that's not a fighting axe. That's not what she uses it for. That's for climbers.
Oh, it's a climber axe?
Yeah, that's what you use to climb. That way it helps stabilize you, especially on steep hills.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about survival skills. I'm a suburbanite. My survival skills are how to navigate the 405. Those are my survival skills.
I have survival skills, and no, I was never a Girl Scout.
I actually was a Girl Scout.
See, there's where this is sad. Yeah, that's real sad. Right? You were a Girl Scout, have no survival skills. I was never a Girl Scout, but I have survival skills.
No, you can't say I have no survival skills. I'm still black. I'm still going to go the other fucking way from danger.
Yeah, you know that if you hear something, run. If you see people running, don't stop and ask what's going on. Run.
You run. I have black skills. That's what I have.
Out of the forest, you'd still be fucked, though.
That shit works.
I wouldn't be.
That's why I keep my... How many times have you seen me in a forest? That's the question. Exactly. Never. There you go.
Screwed. You're going to be screwed one day. Just wait.
No, thank you. I'd rather deal with the desert than a forest. Because in the forest, you never know what else is in there, but you know you're not alone. No, thank you. Don't go camping.
I love camping.
I don't. I never have. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to go with friends one time because they had browbeat me into doing it. And I was like, I really don't want to do this because I'm the hotel type and I'm like the Sheraton type. And they were like, let's go camping. And I'm like, that's the opposite of what I want to do for fun. And they were like, come on. It was like a big group of us. And I was like, okay, I don't do bugs. I don't do bears. None of the bees. I don't do the bees. Right. And they're like,
don't do nature, period.
I do nature. I do the beach.
You do
That's
nature.
the bee that I do. I do the beach.
You do nature.
I do. So I'm like I said, I'm more of a desert person, less of a forest. But they in California, there are places you go an hour and you can get to any other climate, right? You can get to snow, you can get to fucking woods, you can get to whatever. And I'm like, hey, why don't I stay here? Because this is why I live here. And so they were like, no, let's go to there. And then a place that's named after fucking bears and shit because there are bears and shit. And I was like, see, I like to live here where I'm not on the menu. Like when I say what's for dinner, I don't mean me. Okay. So they were like, oh no, black bears are friendly. And I'm like, I wouldn't know because I've never met one. So I was getting ready to go with them. And my friend at the last minute was like, yo, because I actually like went and bought shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And then she was like, okay, I was just kidding. I didn't think you were going to actually go. Do not go. You're not. You're going to just bitch the entire time. I'm like, you know this. Because I also don't do like hiking. Like, why? Why? Like, why go for a really long time up a fucking steep hill and then get up there to be like, I did it. I worked an 8-hour shift. That doesn't mean anything. Like, why?
It's worse than
I'm not
you.
that kind of person.
I went for like my summer that I graduated high school. We went to Bear Mountain in New York and we did like a little mini hike. It's not like a real hike, but like where we made it to at the end, it was like a nice view, and I feel like that was kind of worth the long ass sticky fucking travel. That was pretty cool. So maybe that's why hikers do it, to get to the destination. Like, wow, we walked all this. I see this amazing view. That could be a thing.
All right, so neither one of you are nature people. Got it. And
you know who those who wish me dead are? They're those who drop my ass off in the middle of a forest and say, find your ass back.
Bro, if I could do that to you just for shits and giggles.
How long will it take you to come back, Jackie?
Here's what I know.
Jackie will be pissed until she finds cell service.
If I make it back, have you seen Kill Bill?
Jackie, that's all can I drop you off? Like, just for shits and giggles, I promise I won't leave you there more than a day. I will give you 8 hours to make it to your destination.
More than a day.
I'll leave you with food and water. I'll even give you a compass. I'm just curious to see how far you'll make it.
Jackie, bitch, what the fuck is a compass gonna do? Like, I know what is north, south, or what shit. Like, Jackie, I'm like, well, if I go north, I can make it to Walmart. How the fuck is that gonna help me? I don't know anything. But that's another thing that happened in this movie. She was like, go 100 feet. It was 100 yards.
100 yards.
Go 100 yards, turn left. And I'm like, I'm dead.
Yo, but the dad, how he told, like, before he got out the car, and the dad was giving him the instructions about the stream leads to the river leads to cities, or small towns, or whatever it is he said. I was like, yep, you can't tell that they definitely did the whole survival training a lot.
Yeah. And but like, she doesn't even know that, and she just tells the kid, like, 100 yards. See, and that's the thing. Like, feet, yards, paces, all that shit's the same to me because I don't know what the fuck any of it is. I'm just dead. I'm like, and when people are like, head north, left or right, bitch. I don't know which way you're talking about. Okay. Well, the sun is in the fucking sky, and it's really big. I don't know which way it's pointing. It's just up.
I learned north today. I was talking to my boy, and apparently he knew, so he showed me where north is. So I know right where I'm sitting. I know exactly where north is. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I take it none of you guys know how to make your own compass either, then, huh?
I used to say that
there's an anime that taught me, and I forgot. But if I watch it again, I got you.
Good job.
You used to say what, Jackie?
I used to say that if you follow the ocean, because, I'm on the Pacific coast, if you follow the ocean, if you go towards the ocean, that's west. Not necessarily, because it depends on what part of Southern California you're in. The ocean could actually be south of you. So I don't fucking know, man. I just say left and right, bitch. That's what we have. We have these directions for a reason.
And this is why we are lazy ass motherfuckers.
And
Jackie,
look, we still go by the imperial system, okay? I get that we are ancient.
Actually, I use metric more than I use imperial.
Congratulations. Either way, 100 of anything, unless I'm actually putting one foot in front of the other and counting to 100, I'm dead. Like, I'm supposed to know where the fuck 100 or something is.
I was saying that I agree with you 100%. I don't know 100 yards or 100 meters or 100 paces.
Right?
Moral of this story, nobody ever dropped the three of us off in the middle of the forest because these motherfuckers are going to rely on me. I'm good. I got enough dependence in my life. I don't need two more.
Yeah. Yo, we looking at Ace. The minute I wake up, like in Lost, the minute I wake up, I'm looking for Ace. Not water, not nothing. Ace, do you have a plan? And if she literally goes, "Yo, I got nothing," yo, I'm just gonna commit suicide immediately. Like, yep, this is what life
Elias is gonna expect me to MacGyver shit and everything else. Nope, we're done.
Bro, I be like, look, I found this rock. I made it into a satellite fucking phone. All right. I took this grass. If I pressed it here, it turned into a house. Like that's what I expect out of you. Like,
Damn.
uh,
You might press this rock, it turns into a house. I love it.
hold up. So one scene that I'm actually curious to look up on how people actually, if this is like actually based on what you're really supposed to do or whatnot, when they're in the meadow area as the lightning, and she literally says, "Run until I tell you to stop, and then you're gonna get down and duck, and then I'm gonna run," and it basically like leapfrog in a sense, but the running version. Like, what do people actually do that in fields when there's lightning storms like that? Like, I'm curious.
and what's the purpose?
I think they only did that because they had to go, because she was trying to, like, they had to keep moving. But I feel like if they didn't have to go, they would have just stayed on the ground, because lightning is attracted to it's attracted to things that are like metal, but it's also attracted to like tall things. That's why she said to get down. Mm-hmm. But I think the reason why she got struck is because she had that axe on her.
I don't know. Did she have that axe on her at the time? I know she had her backpack.
It was on. I'm pretty sure it was on her backpack.
Yeah. She had that. Yeah. Wow, that was actually true. That's also another thing. Angelina Jolie is still immortal. And I'm gonna explain. One, she fell from a 20-story fire tower, and she landed really, really bad. And she just took a nap. She took a nap. Her hands were a little burned. She put some Vicks on it. That's her shit in the movie, guys. She puts Vicks.
She did not put Vicks on it. She put hydrogen peroxide on it, and it burned like shit. Those were rope burns, and she didn't fall from the top of the tower. She fell from a little further than halfway down. So she got on the rope. The thing that hurt her the most were the rope burns from her sliding down the rope instead of holding on.
Okay, you can have that. Let's talk about Exhibit B, all right? And the main exhibit.
Okay.
She got struck on her left side by lightning. Shit went from her shoulder to her foot. And she's just fighting a dude that didn't get struck by lightning and winning. Like, and it's Angelina Jolie. Once again, you're amazing, bro. Like, I love you. Like, you're so brolic. It's so great.
Still don't know what that means, but sure.
Really strong. Yeah, she's really strong in all her movies. I forgot.
That part makes sense.
What?
All right, so still can't understand the running thing, but the reason why they had to stay apart is because you don't want to huddle together. Instead, you want to have each person find shelter roughly 100 feet apart. That minimizes the possibility of multiple casualties from a single strike.
In the movie, lightning struck several times. Like, it was kind of crazy because there was a lot of lightning, but you never really saw any rain. Lightning struck the tower that she was in. That's why she had to she could sense that the lightning was coming, so she ran out of the tower, but she didn't have time to climb down because, if she was still attached, it would still hurt. So she grabbed the rope, and she basically, from the rope, just like slid down, holding onto the rope, which just ripped her hands to shreds. And then the tower got struck, and she let go as the tower got struck. Like I said, she was a little bit further than halfway down, and she landed fairly hard when the tower got hit. And then as they were running through the field, lightning was striking again. And she did get struck by lightning. But I think that what happened was, I think that it actually hit the axe. But the reason why it didn't take her out is because it hit the axe that was on her backpack, and it didn't directly hit her. So she still felt it. She was still affected by it, but it didn't strike her directly. That's why she said I wasn't struck.
Yeah. Oh, I feel that.
Because it hit her backpack.
The axe probably absorbed most of the shit. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think the backpack absorbed it because the axe was on the backpack and the backpack was on her.
I'm confused. Why did you say it was weird that there was lightning and no rain?
Because I'm used to lightning accompanying rain.
Oh no,
Thor
there's
doesn't just
definitely
jump out and shit.
there's definitely dry lightning. That's actually what causes a lot of forest fires.
That's
I'm
wild.
not used
But
to
growing
that.
up, we used to call it. Growing up, for some reason, I was taught to call it heat lightning. But I mean, I see that stuff all the time: lightning and no rain. Whether it bounces from cloud to cloud or it actually just straight pure lightning down. No rain.
Usually when I see lightning, there's about to be a storm. Or there is a storm.
No, that's a
typically
50-50 for me.
lightning means a storm. Either that or Thor just decided to come down. Or he was like
You're not that lucky.
like it shut up. Or he was like in those memes where he's like, fuck these fish in particular. I've never heard of heat lightning before in my life. Usually expect whenever there's lightning, there's usually rain. I always see rain. Yeah, to me,
But
thunder,
no,
lightning,
that's what
rain.
causes a majority of the forest fires. Is that it's not people, it's heat lightning.
Oh, so here's my question about the movie. In the beginning, when she couldn't save those boys, were they like
That
when
wasn't
they
the
went
that
out?
was the flashback. That
Were
was a
they?
horrible
Yeah.
flashback.
Were they lighting fires like a burnout fire, or were they trying to fight a fire that had already started?
I think they were trying to fight a fire that had already started, and she feels that she mispredicted the wind because it shifted.
Oh, see, because they kept focusing on the wind shifting, I thought that she felt guilty because she was trying to light a burnout fire, but the wind shifted and turned it into like a blazing fire. That's what I thought. Because out here, that's what.
Well, yeah, because you have to light the fire to attack the fire, and so it scorches the ground. That way, when the fire actually approaches the scorched land, it has nowhere to burn to, and it dies out.
Well, we do that preemptively. Like, so before forest fire season starts, because there is a season, before the season starts, we burn the perimeter so that like we burn basically patches to make sure, like you said, if a fire does start, it only goes so far and then it burns out.
See, the funny thing is that these fires, which is really funny that it's so frequent, that's part of the ecosystem, like cleansing itself. That's what it does. And so the fact that it happens so frequently, because like she said, there literally it's a forest fire season in California.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dang, like how many times does the ecosystem need to clean itself out there?
Jesus Christ.
A couple times a year.
Yeah, apparently. Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even before we ever took over the land like we have, and that's what the ecosystem does. It will cleanse itself with fire. It'll cleanse itself with flooding. It'll cleanse itself through a drought and then replenishes itself. It's a whole cycle that the ecosystem does all on its own. So even after us, the ecosystem will still continue to take care of itself.
I feel like the ecosystem is taking care of itself right now by eliminating us. And I feel like we're helping that along. We're like, hey, we'll help you get rid of us faster. We're not that great. We ain't shit. So, but the way that they survived that fire at the end, that was badass.
Yo, I could not have held my breath. You got me fucked up. I can't hold my breath that long.
Well, yeah, but as you saw, like they did go up for air, but you just put your mouth above the water, grab some air, and go back in.
But imagine how warm and hot, though, how hot that air is that you are putting into your lungs.
Also, because the fire kind of moved over the water, like the fire traveled, like that fire was like an antagonist. That bitch had a mind of its own. It was a character. And it was moving, like when it decided, like when she was like, after she finished axing the dude, and he was like, just finished me. And she was like, no, I'll make you suffer. The fire can kill you. And they left. Like 1 minute later, the fire was like, I'm here, bitch. It was like on his ass. And like, that was kind of cold, but also he totally deserved it. Because like he had just murdered a baby and an innocent mother. And he was about to murder a pregnant woman and an innocent child. So, and then on top of that, he was going to torture another woman who was just trying to help the innocent child. So yeah, burn, bitch. He deserved it, is what I'm saying.
But I want to know, I almost really want to like talk to or interview somebody that fights these forest fires every year? Because you notice that when he was in the tower and he was telling them don't move, there's two guys with guns trained on me. She's like, and he said that, I see no way out of this. She's like, well, the fire will take care of it, will give us a way out in an hour. Like, you knew exactly how long it was going to take for the fire to get to you from where it was.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, how do you guys learn this stuff if it's actually a learned thing and not a movie thing?
No, I think it's a real thing because in real life, like when there are fires, they're like, oh, the fire has spread this quickly. It should be here at such and such a time. That's how they know how to evacuate where, or like how to evacuate when. So they're like, okay, the fire's here. We need to evacuate this area because it's going to go over there next.
But see, my next question would be how often is that 100%? Like, how often is that 90% accurate? Because there's many factors and variables that go into that.
Well, that's what happened at the beginning of the movie. Sometimes the fire shifts, and that's also why again they try to burn out certain areas to try to make it so that it's like, okay, this area, like the fire is going to burn out after a while. Because there are some times when like a forest fire goes and they don't even bother fighting it because they're like, well, it's going to burn out when it hits this point. So they're just like, yeah, there's a fire and it's raging and it's like taking over so many acres, but it should be out when it hits this point. Also, if the Thomas says, also if it's windy, that really changes things. It's almost always windy with a fire because that's how fire spreads so fast. If it's not windy, firefighters can easily take a fire out. Like they don't spread that quickly. So it's all whenever there's a big fire like that, it's almost always windy. For example, one of the times when it is fire season in California is when the Santa Anas hit. I don't know if y'all have heard of the Santa Anas, but they're like basically Chicago style winds that just sweep through. And when those come through, any little bitty match, whoosh. Basically, wind is just like a gust of oxygen that's just like, hey, fire, here's some fuel. And it's like, thank you. I will eat everything. It's pretty much how I see it. I am not a firefighter. We should watch Backdraft next.
No, we already have a huge ass list of movies.
This is true. But it was on HBO Max. I saw that because it was like, as soon as it was done, it was like, you want to watch Backdraft? And I was like, no, I don't want to cry today. So...
I'm going to cry in that movie?
People die. It's a good movie, though.
What the fuck?
It is. It's a good movie. It's an action movie, but it actually... So this was like back in the day when action movies had a plot. And they were like... It was kind of like this, where like there's actually a story and there are characters you give a shit about, and then those characters are killed off, and you're like, no!
It's not just The Rock punching people?
No. And there are actual stakes, and those stakes are amped up because somebody dies along the way. So, and that's the greatest way to raise stakes is to actually kill someone off, because now you're like, oh shit, like anybody could die.
Yeah, like someone that's like people like in the beginning of the movie, and then it's like, oh shit, because like after someone's like favorite character or a character that they like dies, they'll think, yo, anybody could fucking die now.
So yeah, that happened in a book that I was reading.
We didn't say this before, but I honestly like the cast for this movie. It was definitely a dream team cast. Everybody that was there, you guys were all amazing. Nah, I love the movie. I actually like that. I don't know if you're planning this by like if you have this all planned, but I like how you're like you showed me like an old '90s action flick and then like a newer type of like suspenseful thing, but it had like that '90s theme to it, you know. So I actually like that. And I was like, because I remember it was yesterday where we was talking, and then one of you, was either Ace or you, where you was like, you know, back then, you know, I was bringing up a lot of plot holes, and then one of you was like, you know, it was in the '90s, you know, shit like this happened. So like, you know, watching a newer version of a '90s like movie where there wasn't as many plot holes. I don't even think there were any plot holes. And if there were, it was probably like firefighter plot hole stuff, you know, like only like real firefighters would know. But other than that, I don't think there was any plot holes in this movie. So I actually enjoyed that. I actually like the movies that you're picking, except for Cruel Intentions. That movie's really much. Which again, I think the only stuff you could nitpick would be like the survival stuff. If you was like a real survivalist or a firefighter, you probably know like certain stuff. Like, why does she have a hiking axe? You know, she's a firefighter or something like that. But
Right.
I like the movie. I thought this movie was really dope, and I can't wait to see Tyler Perry in part 2.
You can't wait to see Tyler Perry in what?
I can't wait to see Tyler Perry more in part 2.
Why do you keep saying part 2? What makes you think there's going to be a part 2 of this?
I don't know. I just want to see more of Tyler Perry's character. Like, he showed up for like 2 minutes. I want to know more. Like, why did you come? Why did you see this dying man next to you and go, "Yo, I want that fucking kid," and then walk away?
He's just there to be the guy who hired them.
Yeah.
So you want an insider part where it's like they get taken down. I feel like you would like the client.
Right? They like take him down, and like Tyler Perry has like a gun, and he's fighting Angelina Jolie, and she has the same pickaxe from the last movie.
Oh
Bro, that would be dope. Fire.
Okay.
This morning, like I woke up, and we was talking. I was like, "Yo, like the Cinematic Adventure is like set up for like the next year," and he was
Pretty
like,
much.
"Why?" And I was like, "Cause I haven't seen like 50 movies," and he's like, "How have you seen 50 movies?" He goes, "It can't be that bad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't seen Back to the Future. I just started there. I was like, I haven't seen Back to the Future." He was like, "You haven't seen Back to the Future? What's the matter with you?" I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "Bro, I didn't even get to the Matrix." He's like, "You ever seen the Matrix?" I was like, "Bro, I've already been through this. I have problems. I was a sheltered person."
He feels our pain.
Yeah, he's seen all the movies you guys seen. He's a regular human. He's a regular person.
Okay, so why are we talking to you and not him?
I don't know. Do you want me to bring him on next week? I'm gonna tell him. I'm like, "Yo, bro, you wanna just take my spot for cinematic adventures? Like, I'll just show up for all the Marvel stuff, and then you can do all the other movies." Like,
I had no idea you hadn't seen like any movies ever. All right, it's time to say our goodbyes. AC Facey, do your whole spiel.
I don't have a spiel.
You're not gonna tell people where they can find you or VOP or any of that stuff?
That's Elias's job.
Okay, wow.
I mean,
You're
he
not gonna
don't
give
know
the
movies,
Club and
so
Afro
we gotta give him something.
Okay, well, you're right. All right, I'm gonna do mine first, just because we know he likes to go beyond the point. So, you can find me at cinematicadventurespodcast.com or anywhere that they play podcast. You can listen to my podcast, or you can find me on Twitch or Haps or YouTube, where all this is streamed to. Elias, take us out.
Thank you guys for coming out to Cinematic Adventures. Of course, you can catch us at VOP USA Radio. That's on everything except for Twitter, where you can follow us at VO_petty. We have a nice, beautiful website. We haven't had much beef on the Facebook, so hit us up on Facebook. And everything else. Don't forget to follow Sage Elias at Haps, Sage Misfit on Twitter, and I love you all.
All right, thanks for listening, y'all. Have a good